Hello folks, welcome to Bruce Night, welcome to the Boss Night. There's no rhyme nor reason for this selection. Like the Dylan night a few weeks ago, it's very, very sort of subjective. There are songs that I remembered, songs that I played, songs that were around at a certain period of my life, and other songs, maybe the more recent stuff, I've heard in passing and I've never really absorbed. So this is really perhaps from days when I had more time to listen to music, I don't know. So in my mid-20s to early 30s, I was trying to be a rock star in London. This is in the 80s. And Springsteen did the Born to the USA album, and he came to Wembley, and I went to see that show. And I remember seeing this tiny figure in the distance. I saw him more recently at the Glasgow, at the Hampden Park. And again, it was just sound echoing off the walls. I nearly got to see him at Glastonbury about 5 years ago, but that's another story I'll tell you later. So anyway, as I said, there's no rhyme nor reason for these songs. This first one, though, I have gigged and I have recorded it because I've combined it with country life. It's called Downbound Train, and like a lot of Bruce Springsteen songs, there is the wounded loner, the guy who has lost the love of his life, the wage earner, the guys who shower after work and not before work, that sort of blue-collar clientele that he so brilliantly encapsulates in his songs. So I used to, on the Live in Somerset album, I did Working in the Rain, cutting up wood. I had a job. I had this idea, and I combined the songs that the guy in Country Life who can't afford to live in his own village and the guy in Downbound Train are one and the same. They're cousins. And in the song I recorded, they sort of, how you doing, brother? Well, I'm okay. Yeah, heard you lost your girl. Well, I did a bit. So there was this conversation between a Devonian countryman and a sort of guy from the outback, as it were, or sort of like the redneck counties of America. Anyway, so this is Downbound Train, and I don't know why this made such an impression on me. Although in London, I did work in a garage cleaning cars for a while. I had a job, I had a girl, I had something going, mister, in this world. I got laid off down in the lumber yard. My love went bad, times got hard. Now I work down at the car wash, where all it ever does is rain. Don't feel like you're a rider on a downbound train. Said Joe, I gotta go. We had it once, we ain't got it anymore. She packed her bags, left me behind. She bought a ticket on Central Line. Nights I sleep, I hear that whistle whining. I feel her kiss in the misty rain. And I feel like I'm a rider on a downbound train. Last night I heard your voice. You were crying, you were so alone. You said your love had never died. You were waiting for me at home. I put on my jacket, I ran through the woods. I ran till I thought my chest would explode. There in the clearing beyond the highway, in the moonlight, our wedding house shone. I rushed through the yard, I burst through the front door. My heart pounding up the stairs I climbed. Our room was dark, the bed was empty, and I heard that long whistle whine. And I dropped to my knees, hung my head and cried. Now I swing a sledgehammer, a railroad gang, knocking down the cross ties, working in the rain. And it feels like you're a rider on a downbound train. Hey. Ooh. I had a job, I had a girl, I had something going, mister, in this world. One, two, three, four. Because Bruce is very fond of the false endings, which is, to be honest, one of those stagecraft techniques that we started to use quite a lot. We do it at the end of Cousin Jack, and one night I think I did it 3 times. You can rather overdo the false ending, but it's a great technique because people start clapping, and then they start clapping in rhythm. We do it at the end of Lost on the new live album. You hear a false ending. I like them. And one of the great things about that band, I think, it's like they're all mates from way back, the E Street Band. The relationship between Bruce and Clarence Clemens, yeah, like me and Phil. You know, the sheer joy in each other's company on stage is infectious, isn't it? Almost before issues of sound or issues of the set list or whatever, just seeing a group of guys and girls, his wife is playing or whatever, so glad to be on stage playing music and bringing the music to you, you know. And I've always liked that. I've always liked that idea. You know, that's what people buy to see. You know, you have a contract. They pay you money, and you pay, and you have to do your job. You have to make this thing happen every night. And he always does, doesn't he? My next song, Racing in the Street. What album would this be on? Badlands, I think. You know, again, it's the loner, it's the guy and the slightly disastrous relationship. I love this idea. It used to remind me a bit of me coming in late. How did it go? You know, after a pub gig. And maybe that's the gift of these songs. Maybe that's the craft of it. You sort of see yourself at different stages of your life reflected in some of these stories. So, Racing in the Street. I remember there was a James Dean film, I think, about the guys that hot rod race in the street. They just race each other with souped up engines. I suspect it's illegal now and not allowed, but I think there was a James Dean film. And in some ways, that James Dean persona sort of connects with Springsteen's, I think. That classic American cinema character and literature as well. You know, the slightly wounded tough guy in an environment, whether it's an urban one or whether it's the West or whatever. So I've been trying to arrange this. Because there's no real dynamic in this song. It doesn't reach that sort of rock and roll crescendo. It's just a story of a guy who has this obsession and this... there's probably no money in it, but it's just his passion, isn't it? And it's cost him everything, really. I got a 69 Chevy with a 396, fuely heads and a hearse on the floor. She's waiting tonight down in the parking lot outside the 7-Eleven store. Me and my partner, son, he built it straight out of scratch, and he rides with me from town to town. We only run for the money, got no strings attached. We shut 'em up and then we shut 'em down. Tonight, The strip's just right. I wanna blow 'em off in my first heat. Summer's here and the time is right for racing in the street. We take all the action we can meet, and we cover all the northeast state. When the strip shuts down, we run 'em in the street, from the fire roads to the interstate. Now some guys just give up living and start dying little by little, piece by piece. Some guys come home from work and wash up and go racing in the street. Tonight, the strip's just right. Wanna blow 'em all out of their seats. We're calling out around the world. We're going racing in the street. I met her on the strip 3 years ago in a Camaro with this dude from LA. I blew that Camaro off my back and I drove that little girl away. But now there's wrinkles round my baby's eyes, and she cries herself to sleep at night. When I come home, the house is dark. She says, "Baby, did you make it alright?" She sits on the porch of her daddy's house, but all her pretty dreams are torn. She stares off alone into the night with the eyes of one who just hates for just being born. For all the shot down strangers and hot rod angels rumbling through this promised land. Tonight my baby and me, we're gonna ride to the sea, and we'll wash these sins off our hands. Tonight, the highway's bright. Out of our way, mister, you best keep, 'cause summer's here and the time is right for racing in the street. Tonight, the strip's just right. Gonna blow 'em all out of their seats. We're calling out around the world. We're going racing in the street. That's a tender song, isn't it? Tender song. These are folk songs, aren't they? What's interesting about folk songs is that they are songs of they're songs of the waged classes, as I say, people who shower after work. You know, they come from the field and the farm and the factory and the front line and on deck. And people who add to that canon of songs, they tend, I write about miners and soldiers and sailors and poachers. We don't tend to write about accountants and teachers and lawyers. It's interesting, really. we plunder plunder the music of working people to get our sense of connection and history. Fascinating. No Surrender I'm going to play for you now, and I might add this. No Surrender goes back to the pub days with Phil. Well, we busted out of class. Phil used to sing this one, and I used to add the harmony to it. And it's that classic, it's rock and roll, isn't it, really? What's interesting, melodically, the melody doesn't go anywhere. It's just an excuse for the band to kick off. But apparently there was some tension in the E Street Band. Steve Van Zandt, who's I suppose Bruce Springsteen's oldest compadre, insisted there was some falling out about Born in the USA. I'm sure Mark D'Souza will be able to fill me in on all this. And Steve Van Zandt insisted that this was on the album. And with my song Hard Shoulder, there's a similar sort of sentiment. You're saying to somebody with whom you once played music, what's happened to you? Have you sold out? That whole dilemma of going commercial or staying true to what principles you may have evolved in the early days. Well, we busted out of class. I think this would be great on the cello mandolin. I've never really played this completely on my own. Yeah, it's going to work, isn't it? This is going to work. Well, we busted out of class, had to get away from them fools. We learned more than the 3-minute record, baby, than we ever learned in school. Tonight I hear that neighborhood drama sound. I can hear my heart begin to pound. You say you're tired and you just want to close your eyes and follow your dreams down. Well, we made a promise, swore we'd always remember. No retreat, baby, no surrender. Like soldiers in the winter's night with a vow to defend. No retreat, baby, no surrender. Now young faces grow sad and old, and hearts of fire grow cold. We swore blood brothers against the wind. Now I'm ready to go young again. I can hear your sister's voice calling us home across the open yard. Or maybe we could cut someplace of our own with these drums and these guitars. We made a promise, swore we'd always remember. No retreat, baby, no surrender. Blood brothers in the stormy night will vow to defend. No retreat, baby, no surrender. The lights grow dim and the walls of my room are closing in. There's a war outside, it's raging. They say it's ours and more to win. I want to sleep beneath these peaceful skies in my lover's bed, with a wide open country in my eyes and these romantic dreams in my head. Well, we made a promise, swore we'd always remember. No retreat, baby, no surrender. Like soldiers in the winter's night with a vow to defend. No retreat, baby, no surrender. No retreat, baby, no surrender. Oh, da ba 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 da da da. Cool, that was a bash. That was a bash. I never played that song on my own all the way through before. I have the lyrics here in front of me. I like the sentiment of that, you know. And the guys in the band, you know, they've known each other since their teens, you know. And what was really lovely when I saw them at Hampden is that they'd rediscovered just the joy of each other's company, and probably the reason they wanted to play music to start with, because they've been through the 50s and the 60s or whatever, and all the, I suppose, the divorces and the addictions and all the health problems, and those who were still around just wanted to play music. I think it's the same with the Stones, actually. As Charlie Watts says, you know, what else can I do? You know, I need a band to play with, don't I? And it's doesn't seem to happen in sport, does it, that people can get redemption and come back again? I think better than ever. I think the Stones were the best I've ever heard them play, you know, a couple of years ago. And the same, I suppose, with the E Street Band. And Bruce himself, he says they're getting better and better all the time. Because you do get better at this stuff, don't you? Or you peg out. Hometown. I sang this one with Johnny Jones. This was Johnny's choice. We did a patrons pick at Shrewsbury Festival about 8 years ago, and we thought, well, let's do something a bit different. I just need to make the lyrics a touch smaller so they fit on my page. I was 8 years old, running with a dime in my hand. This is father and son song, isn't it? It's got a lovely feel to this. You know, the dad is just saying, look, well, it starts off when he remembers his dad driving him around town and just saying, look, this is your hometown. You know, take a look at it. This is where you're from. And years later, everything is closing down. The factories are all closing, which again is a theme throughout Springsteen stuff. You know, the decline of blue collar work. And the dignity of labour, really, and the sort of these guys trying to raise their families against all the odds, and in a way, not a cynical version of the American dream. You know, that it's possible to make it. You know, it's possible to get somewhere better. And sometimes I say, I was talking about this the other day. A lot of people measure their distance in America from where they're from to where they've ended up, because you come from some small town that's maybe in decline and you end up on the west coast or the east coast, and but this is a song about the guys who stay where they are and try and make the best of it, but it sort of goes wrong in this song. Let me just try and think of how I'm going to accompany this. Oh yeah, I'm going to do a finger picky one, and then I'll get on to my next four. 8 years old, running with a dime in my hand. Get in tune. This is Hometown. I was 8 years old, running with a dime in my hand to the bus stop to pick up a paper from my old man. I'd sit on his lap in the big old Buick and steer as we drove through town. He'd tousle my hair and say, son, take a good look around. This is your hometown. This is your hometown. Your hometown. This is your hometown. In '65, tension was running high at my high school. There was a lot of fights between the black and white. There was nothing you could do. Cars in a line on a Saturday night. In the back seat there was a gun. Words were passed, a shotgun blast. Troubled times had come to my hometown, to my hometown, my hometown, to my hometown. Now Main Street, wash white windows and vacant stores. Seems like there ain't nobody wants to come down here no more. They're closing down the textile mill across the railroad track. Foreman says these jobs are going, boys, and they ain't coming back. To your hometown, to your hometown. Last night me and Kate, we lay in bed, talked about getting out, packing up our bags, heading south, heading south. I'm 35, we got a boy of our own now. Could do that verse again. Last night me and Kate, we lay in bed, talking about getting out, packing up our bags, maybe heading south. 35, I've got a boy of our own now. Last night I sat him up behind the wheel and said, son, take a good look around. This is your hometown. This is your hometown. Your hometown. Your hometown. Here's something you don't often hear. A couple of Bruce Springsteen songs on a Victorian concertina. 1898, I think this was built. Jeff will tell me what this is. I'm not sure if it's a Lacanau or a Wheatstone. It would say on it somewhere. Anyway, I only know my 4 chords and I shall use every one on this. So first of all, it's I'm on Fire. And I'll tell you who does a great version of this. Cole Stacey and Joseph O'Keefe. They do a lovely version. They get that lovely muffled sound. I think Joe puts a little bit of felt under the strings and gets that sort of like, it almost sounds like steel drums. It's a good little technique. And Joe does a very, and Cole does a very moody version of it. And then I'm going to go into Factory Song, which I have sung loads of times because I used to do it with the Arizona Smoke Reviews with Bill and Bill Zorn, with Phil and with Paul Downs. And I would do the top or bottom harmony depending on whether Pete Zorn was there or not, the late great Pete Zorn. And it was a good a cappella song. It was nice with 4 lead voices all bellowing out. It's a great sound you get immersed into. So Factory Song. It's quite interesting though because on Bruce Springsteen's recent the Broadway show he did, 300 Nights. It was very confessional and at times I felt quite awkward watching it because it was in close up and he was deconstructing and talking about his past and comparing the myth to the man, and And it was very revealing and very uplifting, but sometimes uncomfortable. He was saying, I ain't never been in a factory in my life. I wasn't born to run. I was born to stay put. It was like he was reinventing and reconstructing and deconstructing. It's almost like Keith Richards saying, I never took no drugs. You don't really want your heroes to do that sometimes. And it was a strange thing to watch. And I wonder in a way if, as the spokesman of blue collar America, and finding sort of dignity and natural justice in the lives of working people, to see millions of them vote in a way he didn't want. I wonder if he felt a bit of disconnection there. I sometimes wonder that. As the spokesman for that community, I wonder if he felt they had abandoned him or he had abandoned them. I'm not sure, because he's obviously now part of the West Coast or the East Coast urban millionaire elite, and what connection he has with their lives now, it's hard to know, but certainly these songs do connect. They really capture the lives of people in an incredible way. So, hey little girl, is your daddy home? Did he go and leave you all alone? I got a bad desire. Oh, I'm on fire. Oh, I'm on fire. Tell me now, baby, is he good to you? Can he do to you the things that I do? I can take you higher. Oh, I'm on fire. It's like someone took a knife, baby, edging and dull, cut a 6-inch valley through the middle of my soul. At night I wake up with the sheets soaking wet and a freight train running through the middle of my head. You can cool my desire. Oh, I'm on fire. Oh, I'm on fire. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm on fire. Well, it's early in the morning, factory whistle blows. Man rises from bed and puts on his clothes, and he takes his lunch and walks out in the morning light. It's the work, and just the working life. Through the mansions of fear, through the mansions of pain, see my daddy walking through those factory gates in the rain. Factory takes his hearing, factory gives him life. It's the work, and just the working life. End of the day, factory whistle cries. Men walk through these gates with death in their eyes. And you just better believe it, boys. Somebody's gonna get hurt tonight. It's the work, and just the working life. Well, it's early in the morning, factory whistle blows. Man rises from bed, puts on his clothes, and he takes his lunch, walks out in the morning light. It's the work, and just the working life. It's the work, and just the working life. So that creaking is not the bloody Victorian concertina, it's my damn chair. What have we got next? Oh yeah, Highway. This is real rockabilly. There's a lot of words I need to get in this one. And again, how often have you heard a Springsteen rockabilly song played on a quattro? I love the line, one day I looked right at her and she looked right back. I realised I nicked that for Widdicombe Fair. The landlord stared, Billy, and she stared right back, you know. I didn't realise at the time till I started looking at these lyrics. So there's a lot to get in on this one. So I don't know, so the family someone couldn't get hurt, so I thought I'd trouble on their shirt. This is a guy, this is Young Love gone wrong. You know, he runs off with a young girl, and obviously she's of a certain age, and to cross a county line is illegal in America. I think it might even be 18. I'm not sure if 18 or 16. But this is a great rhythm, this, so it's quite good fun to do it on the quattro. Friday nights, pay nights, fresh out of work, talking about the weekend, scrubbing off the dirt. Some heading home to their family, some looking to get hurt. Some going down to Stover, wearing trouble on their shirts. While I work for the county on a 95, all day long I hold a red flag, watching the traffic by. In my head I keep a picture of a pretty little miss. Someday, mister, I'm gonna lead a better life than this. Working on the highway, laying down the blacktop. Working on the highway, all day long I don't stop. Working on the highway, blasting through the bedrock. Working on the highway, working on the highway. Well, I met her at a downtown at the Union Hall. She was standing with her brothers back up against the wall. Sometimes we go walking down the Union tracks. One day I looked at her and she looked right back. Working on the highway, laying down the blacktop. Working on the highway, all day long I don't stop. Working on the highway, blasting through the bedrock. Working on the highway, working on the highway. Well, I saved up my money and I put it all away. I went to see her daddy, but he didn't have much to say. Son, can't you see that she's just a little girl? She don't know nothing about this cruel, cruel world. We lit out down to Florida, got along alright. One day her brothers came and got her, and they took me in a black and white. And the prosecutor kept the promise he made that day. And the judge got mad and he put it straight away. Now I wake up every morning to the work bell clang. Me and the woman go swinging on the Charlotte County Road, gang. Working on the highway, laying down the blacktop. Working on the highway, all day long I don't stop. Working on the highway, blasting through the bedrock. Working on the highway, working on the highway. Working on the highway, laying down the blacktop. Working on the highway, all day long I don't stop. Working on the highway, blasting through the bedrock. Working on the highway, working on the highway. What he does, he chucks in words that go beyond the meter of the actual verse. So unless you know them off by heart, you can be left completely behind. That I went to see her daddy, but we didn't have much to say. And one day her brothers came and got her, and they took me away in a black and white. It's a lot to get in, so I sort of cocked up a bit of that. But I'm sure you will forgive. This one I loved playing on my one-man show, not the one from 2 years ago. One Step Back. Martin does a brilliant version of this, Martin Joseph. Again, it's that character, isn't it funny? My degree was in American politics and history, and we had to do a lot of literature as part of that. You know, so you had Hemingway and Baldwin and William Faulkner and John Steinbeck and Norman Mailer, all these people. And that whole, the iconic character that is the American loner. You know, the guy, you know, there's Sinatra, James Dean, Presley. There's a certain persona, isn't there? And I think Springsteen is part of that continuum, you know, the sort of self-sufficient, self-reliant, independent, tough guy who's slightly wounded. He's lost the love of his life, or he's been destroyed and had to put himself back together. And you see that character again and again and again. Don't you? Maybe it's the great contribution of American culture to the canon of world literature, that particular persona. And you can put them in any environment, whether it's in outer space or in the Wild West or in the urban environment or whatever. And it's how they survive. And sorry, I'm waxing a bit poetic now. But this, for me, is the classic one that captures that guy. A lovely line in this. Bird on a wire outside my motel room, but he ain't singing. Girl in white outside a church in June, but the church bells, they ain't ringing. Sitting here in this bar tonight, and all I'm thinking, you know, when we toured America, well, we'll call it a tour. We just did about 8 or 9 shows from New York up to Portland, up to New England. And you see those characters. It's almost like they're in their own films. You know, those motels where you're leaning on the motel railings, looking out at the freeway, and the big black limo pulls in, and these guys get out, and they look like they've been driving all night, or they're looking for someone, or these couples who seem to be on the run. Maybe there's so much mobility in America. People, like the guy in my hometown, they leave and they go to other places. You know, possibly more than we do in this country. Get on the freeway and go. So you do feel like you're in a film all the time in America. You really feel like you wonder where the cameras are. You know, we stayed in this place. Well, it was Tewkesbury. Yeah, apparently it's a shabby. It's an ex-woolen town, you know. And there's real blocks, like you see blocks, you know. And in between the blocks, there's all these cardboard boxes that they drive through in the chase, you know. So Richard Shindell, he captures that world of America. Again, it's slightly more poetic in some ways, more abstract, but it's cinematic, and you do feel like you're in films singing these songs. So I'll play you one step back, the tough guy who's lost the love of his life and is trying to find glimpses of it in barroom encounters. Woke up this morning, my house was cold. Furnace, she wasn't burning. Went out and hopped in my old Ford with the engine. She ain't turning. Giving out hard lessons lately, but we ain't learning. It's the same sad story, that's a fact. One step up, 2 steps back. Bird on a wire outside my motel room, but he ain't singing. There's a girl in white outside the church in June, but church bells ain't ringing. Sitting here in this bar tonight, but all I'm thinking, I'm the same sad story, the same old act. One step up, 2 steps back. It's the same thing night on night. Who's wrong, baby, who's right? Another fight and I slam the door on another battle in our dirty little war. Look at myself, I don't see the man I wanted to be. Somewhere across the bar. Get the message she's sending. She ain't looking to marry me. Well, honey, I'm just pretending. Last night I dreamed I held you in my arms. The music was never ending, and we danced as the evening sky turned black. Taking one step up, two steps back. Oh, we danced as the evening sky faded to black. We took one step up and two steps back. Occasionally, when I'm writing a particular type of song, I try and inhabit that persona and sing in that accent. I always get told off. Sandra Smith, the person who rescued my voice, she's the founder and leader of the Lost Sound Chorus. She always hates it when I do the gravelly thing. She says, no, don't do it. But occasionally I try and get into that character just to get a persona going. I did it for AIG. You know, because I wrote that very much in that Springsteen. What a working man stands in line. The market sets his price. No feathery bed, no golden egg, and no one pays him twice. Where's your fast and your fortune and your only sound advice? I tried to get into that character and then de-Americanize. When a working man stands in line. But it's amazing how you lose that when you try and anglicize the accent. It's quite hard to keep the persona going in English, you know. Chris Rea could do it, but there again, I suppose people like that and Elvis Costello are singing in American accents, but I try and get back to my accent, and I lose the character. I imagined once what it would be like if, you know... This land is burned and broken, scarred like the face of the wind. Our tongue no longer spoken, and the towns around she's ruined. Will there be work in New Brunswick? Will I find gold in the Cape? You know, it sort of works, doesn't it? And talking about barren and broken, this is Youngstown, which is a song I learnt from Phil about a steel town in America. I imagine those of you that have seen The Deer Hunter, you'd know this place. And it's lovely to get the little echo going. I started doing this on Country Low. That's on a little tiny Trace Elliott amp I've got back there. But this is done as a big rock number, but it's really nice to slow it down and it becomes a real folk song about industrial, the way that the industry devastates these small towns, these communities that are based on one industry. So this is very much The Deer Hunter. I don't even know whether The Deer Hunter was filmed in Youngstown, but this is Steeltown. You know, this is Scunthorpe, you know, very much Sheffield, as it was. I remember, even in the early days of touring, when I would go around sometimes with Paul and Phil, driving through Sheffield and seeing the furnaces, you know. Yeah, brings back a lot of memories. Here in Northeast Ohio, Back in 1803, James and Danny Eaton found the ore that was lining Yellow Creek. They built a fast furnace here upon the shore, and there they made the cannonballs that helped the Union to win the war. In Youngstown, in Youngstown, my sweet Jenny, I'm sinking down here, darling, in Youngstown. Well, my daddy worked the furnaces, he kept them hotter than hell. I came home from Nam, worked my way to Scarfer, a job that would suit the devil as well. Well, taconite and coke and limestone fed my children and made my pay. Them smokestacks reaching like the arms of God to a beautiful sky of soot and clay. In Youngstown, in Youngstown, my sweet Jenny, I'm sinking down here, darling, in Youngstown. Well, my daddy came on the Ohio Works when he came home from World War II. Now the yard's just scrap and rubble. He said them big boys did what Hitler he couldn't do. Yeah, these they built the tanks and bombs that won this country's wars. We sent our sons to Korea and Vietnam. Now we're wondering what they were dying for. Here in Youngstown, here in Youngstown, my sweet Jenny, I'm sinking down here, darling, in Youngstown. From the Monongahela Valley to the Mississippi Iron Range, to the coal mines of Appalachia, well, the story's always the same. 700 tons of metal a day. Now you tell me the world has changed. Once I made you rich enough to forget my name. And Youngstown, my sweet Jenny, I'm sinking down here, darling, in Youngstown. When I die, I don't want no part of heaven. I would not do heaven's work too well. I pray the devil comes and takes me to stand in the fiery furnaces of hell. In Youngstown, in Youngstown, my sweet Jenny, I'm sinking down here, darling, in Youngstown. So I have 4 more songs for you on my boss night. This is the toughest of the lot. Adam raised a Cain. East of Eden, John Steinbeck, Original Sin, Brother Killing Brother. The film was amazing. Was it Daniel Massey? Who was it? Like an American classic actor. Anyway, I can't remember now. Fantastic film, made a real impression on me when I was a kid. But this is a real shouty number. There's no real way to present it without getting into it, I don't think. So I'll give it a go. So it's Prisoners of love, a love in chains. He was standing in the door, I was standing in the rain, with the same hot blood running in our veins. I'd raised a Cain, raised a Cain, I'd raised a Cain. And all of the old faces, they ask you why you're back. They fix you with position and the keys to your daddy's Cadillac. In the darkness of your room, your mother calls you your true name. You remember the faces, the places, the names. You know it's never over, it's relentless as the rain. I'd raised a Cain, raised a Cain, raised a Cain. I'd raised a Cain, he raised a Cain, raised a Cain. In the Bible, Mama Cain slew Abel, and he's to Eden, Mama, he was cast. And you're born into this life praying for the sins of someone else's past. Well, Daddy worked his whole life for nothing but the pain. Now he walks empty rooms looking for something to blame. You inherit the sins, you inherit the flames. I'd raised a Cain, raised a Cain. I'd raised a Cain, yeah, yeah. Lost but not forgotten, through the dark heart of a dream, I'd raised a Cain, yeah, yeah. Oh, I need something gentle after that. That was a thrash. It was bitty, but I think it had attitude. If you've heard this next one before, it would have been on every show reel in the last 5 years. In other words, the play on and play out music at gigs, any of my solo ones, I've been using this one. It's called Magic. It's the title track of an album about 10 years old. Let me just get my tuning in. Great lyrics. I mean, I like this song. A lot of the songs on that album were influenced by Iraq and the lies that were told to get us involved in it. And I think the idea of the song is the deception and the mirrors that get you into situations where lives are lost. And I like, I just read a little bit when I was researching the song. They said it's not one of his greatest, but I like it. I really like it. It's got a nice feel. See if I can, after bashing out that one, see if I can get this one. Got a coin in your palm, I can make it disappear. I got a card up my sleeve, and I'll pull it out your ear. I got a rabbit in a hat, if you wanna come and see. This is what will be, this is what will be. I got shackles on my wrists, soon I slip and be gone. Chain me in a box in a river, and rising in the sun. Trust none of what you hear, less of what you see. This is what will be, this is what will be. Got a shiny saw blade, all I need's a volunteer. I'll cut you in half while you're smiling ear to ear. And the freedom that you sought, drifting like a ghost on the trees. This is what will be, this is what will be. There's a fire down below, and it's coming up here. Carry everything you know, leave only what you fear. On the road the sun is sinking low, but he's hanging in the trees. This is what will be, this is what will be, this is what will be. This is what will be, this is what will be. It's got a nice mood, don't you think? A nice mood in there. It's hard to know whether to sing that high note in sort of falsetto or full voice. I had to do this one. This is Back to London in the 80s. And I think I'll blow the... Do I not? 80s in London. It's a pop song, isn't it? Dancing in the Dark. It's not got a lot of content, but you know, it's got that sort of time and place thing. Let me see if I can just get a groove going. Something like that, isn't it? Here we go. Come on in the evening. No, I don't. I get up in the evening. I get up in the evening, and I ain't got nothing to say. I come on in the morning. I go to bed feeling the same way and nothing but tired. Man, I'm just tired and bored with myself. Hey now baby, I could use just a little help. You can't start a fire, you can't start a fire without a spark. This gun's for hire, even if we're just dancing in the dark. Messages keep getting clearer. Radio's on and I'm moving round my place. Check my look in the mirror. Wanna change my clothes, my hair, my face. Man, I'm getting nowhere. I'm just living in a dump like this. Something happened somewhere. Baby, I just know there is. Can't start a fire. You can't start a fire without a spark. This gun's for hire, even if we're just dancing in the dark. Sit around getting older. There's a joke here somewhere and it's on me. I shake a word off my shoulders. Come on, baby, the laugh's on me. Stay on the streets of this town, and they'll be carving you up alright. You stay, you gotta stay hungry. Hey baby, I'm just about starving and I'm dying for action. I'm sick sitting around here trying to write this book. I need a love reaction. Come on baby, give me just one look. Can't start a fire, sitting around crying with a broken heart. This gun's for hire, even if we're just dancing in the dark. Can't start a fire, worry about your little world falling apart. This gun's for hire, even if we're just dancing in the dark. Even if we're just dancing in the dark. Hey baby, worry about your little world falling apart. This gun's for hire, even if we're just dancing in the dark. One, two, three, four. Not going to do that. Not going to do that. So I come to my final piece. I thought I was seeing Springsteen at the Glastonbury Festival in about 2015, 2013. I begged, steal and borrowed and wangled and weaseled a ticket. I think the Avalon stage, or it might have been Toad Hall, just to get to see the guy. And my set was 12 o'clock on Friday. So the weekend was free. And then I got a text from our agent, Vaughan, who said, don't forget you're playing at the Crawley Folk Festival on Saturday night. Oh, moral dilemma. Solo spot. He said, I can arrange to have you picked up at the gate at about 11, drive to Crawley. And I did some calculations. 7:45 set for half an hour, 45 minutes. Off at 8:30. He wouldn't be on till 10:30. I could possibly see the last hour because I knew he would overrun. Boy, did I drive like stink. There was no signing. There was no meeting and greeting that night. Thank you very much, Crawley. No encores. I was gone. Hit the M25, broke the speed limit. And I got to the outskirts of the site to hear the sounds drifting over. And I got into the site and I was about half a mile from the stage. Good night, Glastonbury. 1, 2, 3. That was it. all these people streaming away with the light of conversion in their eyes, and me having had a bit of a day. And what made it worse, Claire had been on the shoulders of some 21-year-old from Birmingham, wearing a hot pants, like a rock chick, and a Stetson. And I had to sort of rescue her. This is the river, which I think really encapsulates everything about his writing, doesn't it really? Sense of place, the American dream, betrayed, or who knows, people get second chances, don't they? Let me just work out the chords. I come from the valley where Mr. When you're young, they bring you up to do lunch like you're the daddy nun. They made me mad and asked when she was 17. I think I'm on it. Yeah. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget the PayPal link. Your generosity as ever has been amazing, and by the time you see this, it'll be just over a week to go before the show with Cormac and Miranda, and the live album is selling well. If there were such things as charts, we'd probably be in it. Thanks a lot, and thank you, Mr. Springsteen, for all these amazing songs. Come from down in the valley where, mister, when you're young, they bring you up to do like your daddy done. Me and Mary, we met at high school when she was 17. We'd ride out of this valley down to where the fields were green. We go down to the river, and into the river we dive. Oh, down to the river we ride. And I got Mary pregnant, and man, that was all she wrote. And for my 19th birthday, I got a union card and a wedding coat. We went down to the courthouse, and the judge put it all to rest. No wedding day smile, no walk down the aisle, no flowers, no wedding dress. That night we went down to the river, and into the river we dive. Oh, down to the river we ride. I got a job working construction for the Youngstown company, but lately there ain't been much work on account of the economy. Now those things that seem so important, oh mister, they vanished into the air. Now I act like I don't remember, Mary acts like she don't care. But I remember us riding in my brother's car, her body tan and wet down at the reservoir. At night on those banks I'd lie awake and put her close just to feel each breath she'd take. Now those memories go back to haunt me, they haunt me like a curse. Is a dream a lie if it don't come true, or is it something worse that sends me down to the river? Though I know the river is dry, oh, down to the river tonight. We go down to the river, and down the river we ride. To the river, my baby. they bring you up to do like your daddy done. The river. Thanks a lot, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Hope to catch up with you soon.